Hey, what's up guys, Gannon here, come to you with a new video. Today I'm going to be doing my first ever actual anime review. After I was totally addicted to Star Trek and was hell-bent on watching the entirety of the Star Trek franchise, I had not watched anime for a very long time, I think at least a whole entire year. But now that I'm done with Star Trek and have time to watch other things, including the new animes that are coming out, I think it's pretty important that I actually do have a anime review segment on my channel. So with that being said, I'm going to be doing some anime reviews. They're going to be super casual and fun. Going to be doing the new popping animes as we're doing today. We're going to be reviewing Dorohedoro, and I'm also going to go back and rewatch and review some of the anime that I've watched throughout my life. I have a lot of gems that I would like to go back, rewatch, and eventually review. But with that out of the way, guys, let's get into the review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Dorohedoro, which is Netflix's new popping anime series. First off, I'm going to do a little bit of a spoiler-free synopsis, and then I'm going to be talking more about the anime and what happens in it, my opinions, and then I think at the end I'm going to give it an actual rating. Keep in mind that there is only a single season out right now. This is based off a manga series that I believed was finished in 2019, so the manga is actually completely done, but at the moment we only have a single season on Netflix. Dorohedoro is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Q Hayashida. It tells the story of a reptilian-headed Kaiman who's lost his memories, and he's working together with his friend Nikaido in order to recover them and survive in a strange and violent world. The first season introduces us to the main characters Nikaido and Kaiman, as well as the potential antagonists, who I personally think are going to become partnered with the protagonist in some way. Mr. Ein, a powerful and wealthy sorcerer from the world of sorcerers who has the ability to do extremely powerful and lethal magic centered around mushrooms and fungi, and his ragtag family of cleaners and magic users, which in the introduction includes his personal cleaners, aka assassins, named Noi and Shin, and Fujita and Ibisu, a low-class sorcerer and a carefree young girl who has the ability to turn herself and others into reptilians, I believe. The opening scene in this anime is a fight between Kaiman, Nikaido, and the weak sorcerer Fujita and his partner Matsumura. Through this fight scene, we grasp a little bit of the power level of the main characters compared to fodder sorcerers. It's also a catalyst that sets the story in motion, as Fujita's partner is slaughtered by Kaiman. While Kaiman has his guard down, Fujita is allowed to escape through a sorcerer's door made by Matsumura's dying last resort spell. Through this scene, we're introduced to a little bit about how sorcery works in this universe and how sorcerers travel from one realm to another. Also, since Fujita is allowed to escape and relay the information back to Mr. Ein, is when Mr. Ein truly becomes aware of Kaiman's existence, and it kind of just sets the story in motion. Something that really tripped me out and really impressed me the entirety of the series while I was watching it was the world building. It was extremely interesting because the world is so chaotic that it made you way more engaged when you learned about the laws and principles of the world. You really never see much of a foreground. Most instances in the whole or the city where the humans reside. By the way, it isn't really actually touched upon whether the whole is like an entire world or planet or how any of that shit works. Like I said, you don't really get to see much of a foreground. You see the area Nikaido and Kaiman are in is completely surrounded by fog most of the time, and when they travel outside of the home city, you never really understand the bounds, ends, or limitations of the whole, or especially the world of the sorcerers, which for all we know could just be a collection of pocket dimensions surrounded by doors. This makes me as a viewer constantly thirst for some kind of world building, but at the same time, if they don't really address it, it wouldn't be too big of an issue, as it kind of leaves an appropriate mystery to the setting. In short, the setting of the story is really fucking cool. The first season takes place mostly in the whole, which is like the world of the humans, where Nikaido and Kaiman reside, and then the world of the sorcerers, where Mr. Ein and his family resides. The characters are all really interesting and likable, and the sorcerer aspect basically provides an organization of people who have unique abilities. Some of the better and more interesting characters of Season 1, the highlights were Shin, Mr. Ein, and I really enjoyed the young doctor, whose name is actually Kasukabe. He's actually a 60-year-old man who was made young by a sorcerer's spell, so he's actually like a full-grown dude with a lot of experience, and he's very kind and an interesting character, but he resides in the body of a young man. Alright, so that was kind of like my opening summary. I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about what else I want to talk about with the anime now. The cool part about the story, at least in Season 1, is that you find the protagonist and the antagonist both get involved in the the investigation and the pursuit of the boss of the Cross-Eyed organization. Kaiman, because it's fairly evident that he's got ties with these people early on, because he himself has cross eyes, and the person inside him, who we learned to be named Rizu, is found out to be a Cross-Eyes member and potentially Kaiman's true identity, but I don't actually think that's the case. I think that possibly Kaiman, in a weird, cool, twisty way, could like end up being the boss of the Cross-Eyed people. Ein has been searching for the boss of the Cross-Eyes ever since the infancy of his organization. He tracked him down and attempted to kill him once, but the Cross-Eyed man escaped. Ein believes that he can never truly have peace and success until this man is eradicated. One of Ein's largest motivations in the first season is to find a sorcerer who can control all of time in order to go back to when he first fought the Cross-Eyed man and kill him once and for all. Another cool aspect that's not really touched upon is the existence of devils in the universe. It's implied that they were all once powerful sorcerers who took tests and trials in order to become a devil, evidenced by the fact that in Noi and Shin's backstory, Noi was a devil candidate and was in the process of becoming a devil herself. They seem to be an interconnected organization of super monster beings that reign over hell, or the underworld of the universe. They were prominent characters in both Ein's backstory and near the end of the season when Kaiman attempts to retrieve Nikaido back from Ein's custody in the sorcerer's world. Lastly, I think I should probably just talk about some cool highlights about the series that I really enjoyed. For one thing, the culture in the sorcerer's world, as well as in the whole, is very fucking cool and awesome. The existence of masks. Everybody has their own unique mask. I think they touch upon this in an OVA, and I think they'll probably touch upon it in the main story, but the masks obviously have some sort of significant meaning. There's a reason why everybody has their own individual cool masks. Sorcerers buy and sell smoke and trade it, and there are even like human trafficking sweatshops that steal powerful young sorcerers, which is what happened to Mr. Ein, and milk them of their smoke. And the practice of magic on mortals is all very engraved into the culture and society of this world. It's all very cool and very interesting, and as a viewer, it just pretty much keeps me hooked. The setting, as I stated before, very dark, very metal, very awesome and cool. While everything really seems to be like drab, dreary, scary, dangerous, and freaky, it almost seems like the entire cast is just kind of fine with it. Like, this is the world that they live in. This is normality to them, and they all kind of have very funny kindred spirits, so it's very awesome and cool to see. Just like I stated before, the characters are all funny. Yeah, like I actually laughed a handful of times while watching this anime, and they're very likable in their own respective rights. Kaiman's time spent in the world of the sorcerers was really fun and wholesome. His interactions and time spent with Tamba were really funny. I really enjoyed those. The whole meat pie cook-off scene was just really enjoyable to watch, and that was just kind of fun for me. The food in this anime looks really cool. It's extremely well animated, and talking about animation, the animation style for this anime is unique and it's fucking fire. It's almost more CGI centric, and I'm not fully convinced if it isn't like CGI or if they're actually drawing this out to give it kind of a CGI effect. From my observations, it seems like all of the main cast, which includes Mr. Ein, his family, Kaiman Nikaido, are all kind of shown up three-dimensionally, while the people that they meet normally throughout the world are drawn. This makes the show's animation very consistent in quality, and there's little to no duangs. Like, I don't think I noticed any duangs. The animation in this show is very good, but I think that's something to be expected from a Netflix original series. Alright guys, now I'm gonna be real. I didn't notice any huge cons with the first season. There isn't really anything that I could go in and criticize this show about. Like, I just think it's a good show, really awesome setting, it's a mystery, and it definitely gets me as a viewer interested. Like, the mystery is good. Characters are fun, likable, the animation is great. I think the only thing that I could criticize is that the opening of the show, while it is very trippy and cool, I would say it's only just like above average at best. Super trippy, super metal. I enjoyed the music a lot, but the music wasn't loud enough. I remember watching the first episode. I think there was that fight they had between Fujita, Matsumura, Kaiman, and Nikaido, and once that little scene ended, they went over to the opening, and it almost seemed like the source material of the show, the actual characters talking, was like louder than the music in the opening, and I just thought, I was like, wow, that kind of like made my dick a little limp. I wish that the opening was a little bit louder. It got me a little bit more hyped and excited for the show. So while I do definitely respect the opening, it's above average, it's good. It's not one of those openings in anime where I need to legit watch it every episode. Like, I never skip over it. I don't think there's a Netflix original series out there currently that has like a fire opening. I think I remember the Seven Deadly Sins opening to be mid. All the Baki openings were scuffed. They were actually like not that good. Like, I skipped over them all, but this one was just above average at best. And while that isn't even really a criticism, because I already said, hey, I like the opening, it's above average. It's definitely, hey, that's pretty good. It's just not fantastic. And I would really like to see them create a fantastic opening for the later seasons. I think that this one might even be good enough and appropriate for the first season, but I just, you know, we would always like things to come off a little bit stronger at the start. But anyways, guys, with all that being said, this has been my review of Dorohedoro. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to give it a quick rating now. I think in the past I've been rating things with a little bit too much generosity, especially Star Trek. Whenever I watch some new Star Trek, I just get super excited because I love all Star Trek and I give it way too high a rating. I think I'm going to do my best right now to be as objective as possible. Dorohedoro is an above average anime with a very interesting mystery, very interesting story, super fucking cool setting, animation is good. I'm going to give it a 7 to 7.5. Actually, I'm just going to give it a straight 7. This is the start of the anime. This is just the first season, but it is an above average anime. It's interesting. It's got a very fucking cool setting. I like all the characters, and I'm just kind of thirsty for more. I binge watched all the episodes in an entire day, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Now, do I think that it's worthy of an 8? No. That's why I'm going to give it a 7. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please slap a like on it. If you have anything you'd like to share, anything you'd like to discuss, please leave a comment down below. I will be sure to get back to you. If you're enjoying the content that you see on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you're subscribed, and I'm going to have to see you in the next one. See ya!